My name is Sipo the Double P.
My name is Kerry Kubini.
And my name is VDJ Hall.
And with us today in studio, making a comeback. Making a comeback.
Rewind
Due to
selector.
public demand.
Due to public demand.
Pull up.
Shall I say due to consumer demand?
Hey, I see.
His name is Mr. Mugambi Mutegi, and he's coming through again. He was here about 10 days ago.
Yeah, 10 days. Yeah.
About Friday last week, but one. He's the manager communication and external relations at the Competition Authority of Kenya. We had a great conversation that time, but we touched briefly on something called consumer protection. And with that, we want to pick up from that today. So, Mugambi, welcome back to Pearl in the Morning.
Thank you very much.
It's very good to... Yeah, I know jana ulikuwa occupied, ukipanda miti.
Yeah,
there's someone in this studio who did some...
Ulipanda ngapi? Tuanzie hapo.
Personally, I planted around 20.
20.
Well, 20 in Machakos. At home, I planted 6.
Those are 26 more
Fantastic.
trees than I've ever planted in my life.
Yeah.
Well,
There are more.
there you have
It's
it.
starting from a very low figure.
I know, man. Well, the bar is not very high. Hope has planted 2. Is it 2?
Mimi
Eh.
nilipanda tu
Oh, hata
mawazo.
kutuambia
Nilipanda tu mawazo.
And Winnie has planted
One.
in her life.
Yeah.
Well, but you've lived a very short life, so that's commendable for that
Okay.
short life that you've lived. I'm the one who's really shame on me for not planting any
Why?
trees.
And you're pro-government.
It has nothing to do with big government.
No. Support your leader.
Yeah, you should plant trees.
Yeah, you should.
Whether or not it's a government agenda, trees are good.
Yeah, Hobbs, I can pay you to go and plant trees. Can you do that for me?
For who? No.
Mugambi, welcome back. Of course, we're about consumer protection. For the layman who may be tuned in today from the bus, what is consumer protection?
Consumer wealth. First, let me explain briefly about Competition Authority of Kenya.
Yes.
For the listeners who didn't tune in.
Who called? Yeah.
Who didn't tune in last week. So, Competition Authority of Kenya, the acronym is CAK. We regulate market structure, market conduct. So we regulate how businesses perform or behave in the market. And the market here, as I said last time, Soko. It's sectors. So telecom.
The business sector.
The business sectors, various business sectors out there. So, for instance, we regulate mergers and acquisitions. So, if
Yes.
you buy one company and you 1 billion assets, combined assets and or turnover, you have to come to us. We analyze how it's going to impact cheaper options available to you. Secondly, we check the people who we talked with Hobbs about cartels. So, cartels are those people who
Kwanza hao kwanza.
wanashikana for profit-seeking motives.
Yes.
They are just selfish gains themselves at the expense of the consumer. Then there's another thing, very tough language, buyer power. Buyer power is where your business in such a strategic position that there's a supplier who supplies to you below you who's very economically dependent on you. You can abuse that position, refuse to pay them on time. They can supply goods to you and then you refuse to pick them or such things. So when the abuse is there, it's called abuse of buyer power. So the main subject of today's conversation is something called consumer protection. So consumer protection is let's start with consumer rights. When you buy goods and services, as long as they're not for resale, you are a consumer. That's how the law defines who a consumer is. You buy the headset you have, as long as you're not going to resell it, you are a consumer, whether it's a service or a good. So when you purchase these things in the market, you have certain rights, and they're enshrined in Article 46 of the Constitution. You have the right to full information of all that. So for you to fully benefit from a good or service, you require all the information. You have rights to compensation if something harms you. You have rights to fair advertising in the market. So people just can't advertise willy-nilly without lying to you, perhaps. That's wrong. So there are certain rights enshrined in the Constitution. Then now you come to our law, the Competition Act, number 12 of 2010. That's where now it's more expansive, several pages of now what we actually do to ensure that your rights are not infringed.
All right, when we come back in the next hour, I want to find out what are consumer rights particularly. How does one know their rights? Because I know ignorance is no defense.
Yeah, sure.
How are rights being abused right about now? And also, how do you seek redress in this? Okay. Some of the companies we're buying stuff from, we feel are very, very big companies. How do I take them to court? Where do I begin with? is this something that has been done before? So is there precedence for that? And also, what about matters of money? How much money is being spent actually to protect us people? Or is it just another organization where I feel like we're paying taxes and nothing is being done about that? I'll be back with Mugambi in the next hour. We're talking all matters, the authority and the commission now, but also particularly consumer protection.
Yep.
So if I have a complaint, and say for example, I go to a supermarket and I buy soap, right? And first, one of the things I see on TV is false advertising in terms of it clears 100% of
Yeah.
stains. Have you seen those kind of ads?
Hey.
In fact, there's a smart one who says 99.9%. So
And-
that's
Mwosho moja.
Mwosho moja too. And you guys, you've washed that thing like 4 times and it's not coming out. But whatever reason it is, when I have a complaint,
Yeah.
how do I get this process started? Do I go to the supermarket where I bought the product from? Do I go online and tweet as many Kenyans do? How do I get redress for something that hasn't gone right?
As you said, you had asked before we went on a break whether we are an agency that just spends Kenyan
It's
money.
like, but it's another agency.
No. We actually do work. So, what typically happens? You're supposed first to go to the person who has wronged you, or you think has wronged you. 90% of the time, the redress is immediate. So if it's a supermarket, you realize you've been sold something which does not meet, let's say it's a television set, promise that it will do 1, 2, 3, 4 things, go to the store itself.
Yeah.
Before, don't rush to CAK first. Go to the store, lodge your complaint. They could refund you, take back the equipment or something, or they could replace it, or they could repair it. Now, if you do that and still you're not satisfied with, well, at least not for refund, that you have your money, right? You can still buy something else. If it's repaired and you still don't like it, or if you go there and they say, no, you know what? Tembea, without not going to do anything. Some people are very arrogant. No, come to us. And how to come to us is several ways. There's a mobile app. If you go online on iOS, Android, just search Competition Authority of Kenya. You'll, register, then start lodging. So if it's something you bought, you have your receipt. The app itself allows you, while in the app, to take photos and write your narrative. I did this, I went to the store. They declined to assist me. If you go to our website, www.cak.go.ke, under the tab called e-services, you can file through our portal. Okay, you can call us, and if all this is not helpful, call us on 254-20-277-9000. Lastly, you can email us. People who prefer just simple email to still go through the entire process. Complain, single N, not complaints. Complain at cak.go.ke. We respond to you typically within 5 hours.
I was going to ask that because some agencies tell us do this and then nothing happens until the CS has to go to the agency. The Kindiki goes to Nyayo House. I'm like, I know you sit under Treasury, so I'm waiting for Professor Jogona Dongo to come and say, Sasa, Mugambi, what do you want us to do? And I'm going to give you a personal example on the same thing. I bought a product maybe a few days ago. It's a deodorant that I bought, and the nozzle isn't working. It's not working. So I'm just like, so do I take it back to the supermarket?
Yeah.
Do I, first, if Kenyan was like, do I tweet them and say the product is faulty?
Yeah.
And it's actually under, let me say Universal brand. Let me not say the brand. Then I'm like, do I just call Mugambi and tell him, Mugambi, kuna supermarket hapa junction imeuzwa.
You know somebody.
I know someone. No, some Kenyans love that thing for like.
I'll show you. I know somebody.
Well, there's no small complaint and big complaint. Actually, if you go to our annual reports, you'll be surprised. There are people who just have an issue with a 60-bob packet of milk.
Really?
That's me.
Yes, and they take it back to the supermarket, and they're given, we are sorry. Here's a case or two. We are pole sana. So even your deodorant, you should first take it back to the supermarket. Tell them this. I purchased this. You have perhaps your M-Pesa receipts. You have the physical receipt. Tell them I bought this. It's not working. No, you tell us what they tell you. So even if it's something worth 300 shillings, believe me, they are Kenyans out. It only takes a second or two to just open the app. And again, I forgot to add all this we do for free.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, we won't charge you anything. So, it's free of charge.
Let me throw a spanner in the works in something Winnie has said about the packet of milk.
Yeah.
What if I bought milk in Shags? Let's say I live in Shags. And I bought milk from like the local akina Hobs or kona Mangombe mahali. And they supply everyone with milk.
Yeah.
But the milk I get is not good milk. Now, of course, I don't have a receipt for that.
Yeah.
Because it's what happens normally. Is there a way I can get redress for that?
Well, the receipt is a
The M-Pesa transaction code.
Transaction codes, all that suffice. So even if you went there, if it's a shop that you really, you have a personal relationship,
Yes.
I'm sure you can still go and then tell us. Yeah, but the ideal situation is where you have evidence that you purchased. So typically you'll find Kenyans, they'll go and buy something worth even 200k, then they won't keep the receipts, they won't keep the warranties intact. Like you buy a jug, a hot water kettle, keep the receipts, have a box somewhere, a file somewhere.
But is that practical? You guys keep receipts?
I do.
Yes.
I got that for my mom.
You
I
keep
mean,
receipts?
there's even a day to declutter receipts
Yeah.
for her.
Hobbs, do you keep receipts?
Ai. Si unakunja na unatupa hapa.
Oh, unatupanga
By the
kwenye
way,
dustbin.
yeah,
Unakwanga hapo
supermarket.
nje.
Hiyo ni kazi ya hiyo
Yeah,
dustbin.
supermarket. Yeah, supermarket.
The ideal situation, keep them. You never know. You've invested 200k on a nice
Yeah, 200K nini,
television
yeah.
set. Even this milk you're talking about. Okay, the good thing these days, you'll find. I've seen these supermarkets where they have an app. So even if you purchase something, even if you don't have the receipts, if you log into the app, it can.
It has like the backlog and says
it
there,
has
this you
that
actually bought this
purchased
product
this,
and
yes.
everything.
So these
Okay.
days there are many ways of proving you actually did purchase.
If I want evidence, hiyo kama hiyo supermarket siko na CCTV. Hapo kwa counter.
Which one footage?
So niliona nikipita
Kwa
hapo.
CCTV uliona
Fungua
maziwa.
server. Niko hapo, si ndio hiyo? That is me.
Itafunguliwa. Yeah, but that's not the extreme. Let's assume now guys it's a acrimonious.
There's some guys that go, hauna evidence, fungua CCTV ndio mimi hapo.
Utambo ilikuwa overwritten jana. That there's no evidence you were there.
Mugambi, let's talk about some of the cases you guys have tackled that have aroused public interest in terms of consumer protection. What are maybe a case or two if any comes to mind?
There are many of them. So let's just say, so far we still have many cases, but one of the reasons I'm here is to entice people. Don't go to Facebook alone and complain as you suggest.
Buyer beware.
Come to us. There is just public shaming of an organization or then what? So some of the things we've done, the ones that come to mind, I was just about to mention the name. A steel, a Mabati manufacturing company had made wrong or false promises to consumers. Number one, they'll deliver within a week. Mabati purchases Mabati will deliver for free within a week anywhere
In the country.
So, long story short, they did nothing of the sort. So they would not deliver on time. They would force you sometimes. You know there are gauges of the Mabati that you purchase.
Yes.
So you wanted red, gauge 2.
Yes.
So they tell you, by the way, no,
This doesn't cover.
we don't have 2, gauge 2. We don't have red. Can you take black, gauge 5? And all these things are different tastes, all that.
Yeah.
So basically, they were lying to people to purchase, and you have to pay upfront. So it's not Mabati is not cheap. So you're paying 300k, 400k, and it was a backlog. It was so many. I think there were close to 60 complaints
Wow.
with us.
For one nini.
The same company.
Same company, yes.
Wow.
So we penalized them 2.6 million.
Wow.
Yeah, for doing that, and we told them, remedy, refund. If you're unable to give Winnie her Mabati within the next 30 days, just refund her money. Remember, Mabati, sometimes when people are purchasing, they've reached the tail end of the construction of Mekambao. Gets rained on, done. Yeah.
Mugambi, I'm gonna hear two things. One, if I don't file a complaint and you people know of it, can you come and do your own investigation, or must I actually go and file a complaint before you guys get to working? And then secondly, many companies get away with this thing, a statement for terms and conditions apply. How does that play in fact when you're talking about consumer protection? We're back with Mugambi Mutegi. And we're talking about terms and conditions apply. What does that mean, sir?
T's, they call T's? C's.
T's and
T's and
C's.
T's and C's.
Yeah.
So they typically Kenyans don't read them. Okay, let's just start that.
Yeah.
You sign okay, sometimes it's not their fault. For instance, if it's banks, most of these terms and conditions, if you've put in an asset finance, the booklet is
It's so thick.
very small font,
Yeah.
and very technical
And
language.
that's like sign here.
Yeah,
They just mark the X's. Sign up and up and
So
up.
sometimes it's important to actually read the terms and conditions. If they are not too if they're not unfair, then they apply. So you can still have terms and conditions which are unfair to the consumer. So then they'll be negated by the law itself, where you will draw from the clause I told you last time called unconscionable conduct, where someone who is in a position, a higher position, bargaining position, for instance, someone selling something to you, forcing unfair terms on you, that we can you can reverse whatever it is, even if you have signed. So, for instance, we've penalized many microfinance organizations.
Is that so?
Yes, I won't mention the names. I think last financial year, there's one where someone took a 9 million loan, was told this is how much you'll be paying per month, only for them to kaangukia deal pahali, paid 8 months in advance, 8 months before. So he was expecting the due date. So he was expecting that I've saved some cash here.
Yeah.
Only for him to be told no, you still owe us 1.4 million, and he was forced to pay. So if he was forced to pay, he went and complained.
Yeah. Did you intervene?
Yes, we intervened. He was refunded the 1.4 M.
So so they wanted him to pay until his due date.
No. So what happened is these terms and conditions. There were some terms which were there which were
very true,
which were wrong. So the interest rates, some of them were not disclosed. As I said, for someone to enjoy the full rights or to benefit properly from a good or service, you need to have all the information. So there's some things this gentleman had not been informed about when he was taking the loan. Some of the terms also are very egregious, for lack of a better word. They are very unfair on him. So he just looked at them, we analyzed and told the microfinance, what you did here was wrong. Whether or not you're saying it's in your T's and C's, it was wrong. So terms and conditions apply, sometimes they don't apply.
Mugambi, some terms and conditions are what they call void ab initio. They're just illegal from the word go, so they're void.
Yes.
But then there's some I feel like the corporates hide behind. Is it their duty to educate the client on these terms? Because, I mean, if you're going to take a loan, for instance, at a bank, I didn't know this, that if you take a loan, say like 400,000, what you actually get is like 98,000. Like, they don't give you the full, there's a tax sum and everything. And sometimes I'm like, but nobody told me this. And when I was signing the stuff, because they gave me a booklet to sign, I mean, I'm sure it's listed somewhere there, but no one took me through. Is it their job to take us through, or is it us to say, hey, let me read through and then come back?
Consumer rights. What I forgot to talk about are consumer responsibilities. So as we were talking even during the break, it's not, you just don't go to the market as a consumer and consume things without also doing your due diligence. If it's something you're purchasing to eat, you have to check the expiry date. When was it manufactured? If it's something which you anticipate will wear down or will break down within a year or so, you need a repair. You need to ask, can I get parts for this? Where can I get parts for this vehicle? Where can I get parts for this equipment? When you're purchasing. So you're told, by the way, if you buy this, there are some vehicles getting parts takes 6-7 months to ship in. So you should ask those questions before buying the car. So even in this case, the ones which avoid, as you said, they avoid from the start. The but all of you have to read. Now, like for banks, we realize these clauses are a bit too technical, and we are engaging with the regulator and the association in that sector, just to tell them, harmonize, number one, first harmonize these documents across banks, and also make it simpler so that my mom, who does not really understand laws terms, can read for herself, or when she's being taken through can understand. Then keep it a bit simple, not 10-15 pages of text. Keep it to 3 and use simple, understandable language. But the onus of reading and understanding what you're purchasing
is on the consumer.
Is on the consumer, but you also ask the questions.
All right. So what if there's a loophole in terms of, let's say you're buying cake from a bakery, and this is a random bakery. They don't write an expiry date, or bread. They don't write an expiry date. It's not a big manufacturer. Look at me. And I didn't ask, when was this bread baked? Is it the baker's responsibility or me, the consumer?
Again, twofold. It's the bakers, and when you're buying, you have to check. You can't run and cry foul if you didn't, do your
due diligence.
But once you find this baker, bring them to us, because they will have infringed the law. They should have indicated all those things, so we'll penalize them.
All right. Good morning. This is Pile in the Morning.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. My name is Simon.
Simon, do you have a question for Mr. Mugambi?
Yes.
How
are you, Mr. Mugambi?
I'm very fine, Simon.
Yes. Now, there is this incident that happened to me last week. I went to a certain supermarket, found something they're selling at 3,708 shillings. Yeah, got 3 of them, but nikienda kuhesabiwa ikakuja ilikuwa 5,050 shillings
per item.
Yes. Na pale kwa price yenye walikuwa wameweka ilikuwa 3,708 shillings. So nikauliza mbona hii imechange? So unajua instead of kulipa 11,124 they were telling me to pay 15,000 and 150 shillings.
Yes.
So nikamwambia price haikuwa hivi. They went back, they confirmed the price that walikuwa wameweka ni mbaya. So nikafuatiliwa, wakaita sijui nini. Imagine from 7 in the evening up to 9 hawakutatua kesi. Wakaniambia kuja the following day, we see what we can do. Sijui session manager hakuwa available. Then I went back the following day. It was on Friday now. Nikarudi, wakaanza kunizungusha. In fact that evening hata kuna mmoja wao aliniambia, unajua customer supermarket iwezi uza na hasara. Kwambia sasa nani aliweka hii amount? Ni nyinyi, nimechukua na nikabajetia hii amount. Now you are telling me to pay 4,000 extra. So tukaongea, so the following day nikaenda, wakafuatilia, wakakuja wakaniambia, you know what, there is nothing you can do. So it's either you buy na this price ama uwe. Kwambia unajua makosa sio yangu, mimi nilibajetia hii na hii na hii. So I went back, nika contact hii, unajua last week nisikia Mugambi pia akiambia, nika contact hiyo ni ndio sasa wakani advise vile nitafanya. So kusikia, I think someone overheard me vile niliambia hata niandike email. Then they came back, wakaniambia customer come do this, pay for 2, pay for 2, then the other one will give you free. So na hivyo ndivyo tulitatua kesi. So should we be reporting those things? Because unajua kama singekuwa nikinunua hizo items, sometimes I go there una purchase vitu mingi, unaambia lipa 5, 20, 30,000 and then maybe wewe una time ya counter check ile amount. Unajua wakihesabu vitu tu wakiscan wewe unaekelea tu hapo kwa nini kwa counter yao. So maybe sometimes unaweza pata kitu pale wanauza at 100 lakini ukienda kuangalia receipt baadaye unapata ulihesabiwa na maybe 150 shillings.
That's true.
Yeah, so do they peer control that?
Okay, thank you Simon, thank you for calling.
Okay, welcome.
Someone there wants to find out Mr. Mugambi. Umesikia amesema alienda supermarket. Jamaa imeandikwa hapo 3,000 and kitu. Akifika kwa account wamepandisha bei. Imekuwa 5k.
Ilipanda in seconds.
Unajua inflation pia inapanda saa zingine unashangaa. Tax.
I have a culprit like that for supermarkets as well.
What happens in such an instance, Mugambi?
That again is a clear violation of the law. There is no two ways about it. It's misleading, advertising, misleading, providing misleading information to the consumer. So it's the disparity between till and shelf. So it happens quite a bit.
Happen.
Yes. Well, I don't know. I can't speak for the whether it's intentional or what. I don't know.
Yeah.
But once something like that happens, which is similar to what Simon apparently did, he called CAK and I think he said he lodged the complaint. They overheard him. Then they realized, oh, by the way, this thing is getting more serious than we intended. That's why they redressed him. But Simon, thank you for actually doing the right thing. You complain first to the retailer that you know what you wrote on the shelf and what you're telling me to pay at the cash till
are two different
things. So you complain. If they refuse to remedy, come to us.
So me have a question. From a friend of mine.
Even Winnie should report.
Yeah, because actually, I'm just sorry to butt in hopes. I've been one of those guys who I buy something and so I know it's maybe 3k, like he said at the counter. And so when I go to the till or buy it from get it and the counter being served, I'll give my debit card. And for me, I many times I don't even check the amount. I just check in and I key in whatever the pin is. As I'm going home and I'm looking, I get like the notification from the bank. Then I'm like, wait, 5k mekato wapi na sangapi? Then I go back and they tell me, no, you've already bought this thing. And I was like, bro, when I bought it there, that was the price I was looking for. Let me get one more call before I get to you, DJ Hobbs. 0701 969 969 is the number you can keep on calling for. But before we get that, Hobbs.
So, a friend of mine bought cake. Simekuwa nini cream imewekwa cake nini cartoon juu yake ya Ben 10. Kufika nyumbani, it was bread.
No.
Bread.
You are just dealing with a con man.
I am honestly
you're just dealing with a con man.
alibuy the interesting thing is alibuy kwa supermarket.
Mkate imepakwa cream.
Mkate like hiyo keki inakatu mkate kabisa.
You are dealing with
wait mpaka alipost online akasema, hey guys, you guys have sold me bread.
Is this a true story?
True story.
And basically the cake became Ben 5.
So the question is this. Hii keki iko na cream. Mimi sijui kama ni keki already. Ni ama ni mkate. Na nisha buy nifike kwa nyumba nisha kata. How do I ask them to refund me of my money or give me another cake?
Simple. And I'm sorry that happened. I'm sure guy kwa Ben 10 must have been a kid in a bit disappointed. Take photos of this cake. Again, the procedure is simple. I'm sure the supermarket that you're dealing with perhaps has an online email address. Send it to them. Walk there physically. Sometimes it may cost you, but when your rights are infringed, usiboeke kurudi.
It's your right.
It's your right.
Send uambie. Send complaint, then see what they do. If they don't do anything, including that one for the cake, come to us and test us. Like Simon says, we actually do our work. So you test us. I hope you don't get another piece of bread in the name of a cake. But if it ever happens to you, you bring it to us. Yeah.
If you have any complaint, you have anything you want to ask Mugambi, you can call us on 0701 969 969. Text in live on 0702 969 969. It's all about consumer protection right here on Pearl in the morning.
Again, just
Go on the app.
Go on the app, lodge the complaint.
What is the app name? What is the app name? If I'm looking for it on the Play Store, what am I looking for?
Competition Authority of Kenya.
Competition Authority of Kenya. It's an app and it's on the iOS store
and
the Android store.
Yes.
Okay, on the App Store.
So but even those eateries that are on mobile, they have their own redress mechanisms. Just complain. Don't consume. If you really didn't want the original flavor, don't consume it. You have your receipts.
I know Kenyans can complain.
No, just be petty and try us.
They can complain. Hello, this is Pearl in the morning.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up? How are you?
Thank you so much for this conversation, Mr. Mugambi, sir. Thank you for validating my need to be petty and to be aware as a consumer.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
Sorry, I'm calling from the road. So, yes, I'm really enjoying this conversation, mostly because I'm very, very particular about my brand. So, there's one time I bought this brand of rice that I'm very particular of. I think I have known all the qualities of that brand of rice. So, anytime there's a change, I'm always so keen to notice. So one time I bought this rice, and of course you know that when you buy a product, you have a way of doing your storage, yeah? So for me in my household, I will buy the rice and then I will transfer it to a container and then I'll keep it. So this particular time, I had a little bit of the previous product and then now I had bought a top-up. I noted that the one that I had bought was a different shade of color from the one that I had bought previously. So even the taste was a bit different. So I was like, no, this is not the product that I know of. So I took it back to the supermarket, and of course I didn't have a receipt. Thank God for M-Pesa, so they were able to draw up the receipt for me. But now the burden of proof was on me as a customer. Like I had to prove that I had bought it from here. I had to prove, the bag, the packaging, the bag, it was the same. And it was really, really agitating me that the burden of proof had to lie on me. I was like, of course, I threw it away because I now changed it into another container. Yeah. But so on and so on and so on. So I really, really complained. In fact, what I did, because I'm really super petty, I went to another supermarket, I got the same product, and then I returned it back to that supermarket, and I told them, now see, this is the same product, see how yours looks, and see how this other one looks. And they're like, sure, we'll take all the products, and then we'll take it back to the manufacturer. But they were so adamant that, you know what, we are retailers, we don't do quality assurance, it is on you, we shall just take it up the ladder, which I found it was very, very irresponsible. At least some sort of quality assurance should be given to me as a consumer. So on and on it went, and then of course they called me back a few days after. They're like, oh, we're sorry, yes, the manufacturer did address it, and he said that he had changed suppliers. So this is now coming from the manufacturer, that he has changed suppliers and he's now getting supply from someone else. Now my question is, shouldn't the producer or the one who's selling this product, shouldn't they inform me as a customer that they're changing, like now the product will taste different or it will look different, or should I figure it out on my own? That's my question.
That's an excellent question. Thank you for calling.
Bye.
Mugambi.
Yes.
What do you do with that?
First, sorry for your experience, and I'm glad at the end of the day the matter was resolved. So, well, manufacturers won't typically tell you when they are changing the product.
Ought they to tell us?
Not necessarily.
Really?
Yeah, as long as they still abide by this KEBS issued standards. That is what they should adhere to. So as you can tell, in this case, maybe one was white, another one was a bit brown. Something is amiss somewhere.
Yeah.
So as long as they are adhering to, they don't have to come and tell you, by the way, we added 1 spoon of sugar as opposed to the brand that we always have 2 spoons. They can make the changes. There's this water brand, people noticed a rebrand. Should they come and tell you that we're going to rebrand? Not necessarily. But when they do it, you'll all see. If there's an issue, then, as she said, it may look laborious because, as she's saying, the burden of proof rests with the customer. But you have to do the work also. When someone infringes you, mtu akikuibia shamba, you do the actual work, you go to court. So in this case, don't get tired of actually complaining, okay? And as she's very using her own words, petty. That pettiness is not being petty. It's actually when your rights have been infringed, if that is what you're going to call it, be petty. Complain. Go complain. If the retailer is not, in this case, had the retailer gone all the way to the manufacturer, she still had an avenue. Should have come to us. Yes, and would have helped her.
Does the retailer owe the customer a duty of care?
Does the
retailer?
Yes.
Do they owe the customer a duty of care?
In some instances, let's assume a product is visibly not okay. Yeah, you have to do something and check. If it's tomatoes, you can't have rotten tomatoes. If it's meat, remember that time when there was an uproar?
Yep.
The retailer can't say, you know what, I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I don't own a slaughterhouse.
Yes,
I don't
know how bad meat looks like.
Yeah.
Yes, this one looks, it's green. There's some evidence here shouting at you that this thing is bad. So you have to remove it from the shelf.
Right.
It could be a bit tricky with rice because it's packaged and all that. Yes. Yeah.
And asked earlier, Mugambi, if there's a matter that is in the public domain, but there's one in particular who's come forth to file a complaint, do you get yourself involved in this? Ama mnangoja kwa ofisi unasema wacha mtu akuje kwanza?
No, we do both. So we investigate whether or not it's abuse of buyer power, whether or not it's issues to do with cartels. You can complain. Hobbs can bring,
unga,
mambo ya unga,
cake.
Alete, then or his Ben 5 cake.
Ben 5 cake, yeah. Mkate, brown bread, I hope.
Brown bread. So you can come to us, but typically when it comes to consumer protection issues, we do mystery shopping. We prioritize sectors that when we do an intervention, the impact to the Kenyan public is a lot. So we did maize flour.
Explain for the listener first, what is mystery shopping?
So mystery shopping, for instance, as I said, we are doing investigation. We did an investigation in the maize flour sector, wheat, edible oils. So what our members of staff will do, they'll go to the supermarkets randomly, pick several brands. Then, since we have a working MOU with the KEBS, we take them to KEBS. We have these issues. Have they met the ingredients? They claim there's no cholesterol in this edible oil. Can you check for us? Because then they have the equipment, they have the scientists, they do all that. When they give us a report, now we penalize. But we prioritize. If we check bread, wheat flour, edible oils, sectors that every other Kenyan
is using the product almost on a daily basis.
Yes.
We had asked before we went on a break about the service sector. How do you regulate that? If someone has offered me a service and I don't feel they did a good job on it, I want to think of an example. We need. Do I say? Doing your hair?
I mean,
this is how I want my hair to look
and
like.
the ladies will actually relate to this a lot because you know we go to the salon, we want this service. You in fact have a Pinterest picture of what hairstyle you actually want, right?
Kama hii.
Nataka kama hii, and eventually unapata it's not delivered the same way, or in the process of them doing your hair, they injure your hair. Maybe they cut your hair, or maybe they use a chemical that burns down all your hair. I mean, I've seen a lady tuko kwa salon and they were trying to relax their hair, and the chemical just burns out all her hair. And all the hair falls in the sink.
She was not relaxed at all, eh?
She was not relaxed at all. So what do we do?
Nice one. So according to our law, the Competition Act, a consumer, you are a consumer. Whether or not you, as I said, as long as you're purchasing a good or a service, and not for resale purposes. So once you do that, once your hair get burns or something, you still have to complain to again, the process is so simple. Complain with them. It's not okay. It's not simple.
No.
Chipo is shaking.
No, I was saying
you complain.
Go to them.
Go to them.
The service provider.
Take photos, not very flattering photos of your hair, which is burned down. Then share with us. Once we do that, we will go through the motions again. And but I said last time, when you're going for these services, when you're buying these goods, go to specific places where we can. If we lodge an investigation, we can get these people.
Not the local salon down the road.
The local salon, I think we can sort you out. Yes.
Okay.
What I was saying is things like a cart. I was giving an example. You purchase something, an electronic, a radio on a cart. Someone akona mkokoteni anauza hapa leo. Kesho is in Westlands. So how will we get this person?
When you said pettiness, there's someone who I feel you can make a killing from, an industry you can make a killing from. Watu wanajulikana kama fundi Nairobi. Fundi Nairobi.
Fundi wa
nguo. But fundi ni fundi. But fundi wa nguo for two main reasons. One, there's a design you give them and then what they deliver is nowhere close to that. That's one. And then, but personally, I have one who's offended me in terms of the time they take to do this thing. Sikuchapa luko kwa harusi.
Oh my God.
And they told me it's going to take them 3 weeks to do this thing. And based on their assurance, I planned that way. Only to get there the night before the wedding. And my suit is nowhere near done. They can't work on it overnight. What dress is there for me, Bana?
Still, it's... You've been misled by the fundi. So you still have recourse. Bring the problem bring the complaint to us. Go to them. Try. Some of these things, as much as they are a bit subjective in terms of what suit you wanted and what was delivered. Let's discuss that when the complaint is there. Let's discuss what you. It's a bit subjective, but we will go through the motions together.
Mugambi, you're saying you're gonna take someone to Luthuli Avenue? If that's where my complaint is emanating from.
Yes, we will. Who said we can't go? We can go. We were just here in town. Sometimes, for instance, if we're not based outside Nairobi, but in the event that we have to go, we will still go. We have people who, when they're doing other things, they can go check in Mombasa, for instance. We can send our people there. And we don't, as much as we are based in Nairobi, this mystery shopping is not only done in Nairobi. Yes. Even when you're doing cartels, I can tell you for sure, when we went to one of the steel cartels, we went to Mombasa, went to Kisumu, flew our people there and raided these companies at 5:30 a.m. So we actually go beyond. It's not a Nairobi based or a Nairobi agency alone. Or Nairobi
if you ask the former minister of industry, he'll tell you, go to Roiro. Go to Roiro. The oil is cheaper in Roiro. Go to Roiro, not just in Nairobi.
Tunaenda kila pahali.
All right,
so
and I know
problems, whether or not in Kisumu, Nairobi, Juja, wherever, we'll sort you out.
All right. And as an agency, how has it been? Have you been getting more and more complaints? Are Kenyans trusting the agency to solve their complaints? And then finally, if you think for me, do you have arresting power? Sometimes I just want these people arrested. I don't even want just a suited idea.
To prove a point.
I just want to prove a point. Do you have arresting power and prosecution power?
So number one, we've as I said, my work or the department's work at CK is to raise our profile. So I'm sure, like today we've spoken, Winnie is going to lodge a complaint. So that's why that's about her hair. So that's why we go to radio stations, TV, write opinion pieces, all that, so that people know their rights, know where to get redress. So we've been seeing a progressive increase in number of complaints. They're still subpar. If you check people who complain on Facebook, vis-a-vis what we get right now, I think we are doing 401 last financial year, which is a lot if you compare the growth from 100 and something just 3-4 years. It was 100 complaints an entire year.
Wow.
Now we are doing 401 in one financial year.
Wow. Okay.
We've made savings
4 times. That's 4 times the number.
Yeah, around 4 times. So that's quite and it's a product. It's a product of sensitization, awareness creation, similar to what we are doing today. But admittedly, that number is still low. We're not 401 Kenyans out here, and all of us have complaints.
Yes.
Yeah. So the number should be way higher than that.
It should be. Yeah. Is there room to work with Buyer Beware? Because Buyer Beware on Facebook is why I see everyone go and complain. Everyone and their grandmother.
Yeah.
Is there complaining about the mechanic, about their landlord, about a phone that they bought a product from, or their hair? Is there room to partner with those kind of guys who are maybe a step ahead on that matter?
Actually, Buyer Beware at some point, I think there were informal engagements. These are not things perhaps you can go formalize, but I have colleagues or friends who, when they see issues there, they point them to the right agency. And word of mouth sometimes is the best advocate for you. So you'll find people complaining on buyer beware, and they're being told, by the way, this an agency called Competition Authority, try them out. We've worked with influencers before.
Oh, really?
So yes, we are very soon we're going to be doing podcasting. So we are doing a lot of things to ensure that this number does not stick at 400. That we want to be doing tens of thousands of complaints, which is it's not a good thing. It's, you know, when more complaints are good for showing that actually people know their rights. It's a bit it's what's it called, negative is good. Yeah.
So for me, I'll say this. Nimenunua nguo. Shati nimeambiwa inakuja na vifunguo 7.
What?
Buttons.
Oh, buttons, okay,
Imekuja na vifunguo 6. Ama I've bought a phone online. Na iPhone iko na issue. Is that worthy enough to come talk to you? Or back home in my mtumba shop, client amekuja, nimemuzia ngoma. Ama a client has gone to a mtumba shop somewhere, amona mali safi, kuvaa imtoshi, anataka kurudisha imekataa. Can they report to you?
Mtumba inaweza kuwa tricky kidogo, because again unaona hizi nguo they're not, you cannot maybe substantiate or prove.
Hata wakisema ni camera.
Camera sasa.
Wakisema ni camera.
Mare.
I think unarudisha tu kwao, uone venye mtasikizana. I don't think we have gone the mtumba route or tested our law on that, but we can see. You try them out. But Hobbs, kuna kwanga na karuma hapo na where you test.
Sasa shida Hobbs buys by faith.
Yeah. Now you see.
Alafu anafanya vitu kama,
you know,
and at night. Anaba, bila kuambia anyone who's buying shoes on the street at night.
I bought sneakers at night bana.
Wani mgeni Nairobi.
But now again,
wani mgeni Nairobi huyo.
Consumers always sometimes forget their responsibility. Nunua na nini nata najua
archives kuna daylight mingi zimejaa.
Kuna
but the example you gave about buying a mobile phone, all that, which does not, there's a joke we have sometimes at work when you're doing this, saying unanunua TV leo ikifika nyumbani inakuwa radio. So that one you come to us, you intended to have a television set, but when you get home the screen is not going on. Inakuwa radio.
Because one thing also, like now there are so many good phones online, but they're very cheap. Unaona iPhone 11 ama 12 30k.
In fact, there was a case the other day about people selling iPhones, and I won't mention the company.
I know about it.
And then what happens, they actually refurbished iPhones. They're not brand new iPhones.
Exactly.
But they are being sold. The impression is that they are brand new. There's no explicit saying that it's refurbished iPhone. What do you do with such a person?
Such a matter, let me not go to specifics. It's wrong. If a phone is refurbished, you should tell them it's refurbished. Our law is very specific. You have to be very clear about the origin of this thing. As I said, I'll give you an example about spare parts.
Yes.
So all these things, you should tell someone. A refurbished laptop, a refurbished phone is very different.
From a brand new
one.
Yeah.
So if I'm selling you a refurbished, whether you package it nicely and seal it properly, you should tell me it's refurbished. Then I'll make my decision. If you sell without indicating, it is wrong, it is illegal.
All right, let's bring this to a close. I have someone who wants to know the app again, how we can get more information of this. If there's any work you've done, if you have a website, how can we get more information of that? As you give us your parting shot, Mr. Mugambi.
So the biggest, thank you again for second bite at
No, man, thank you for coming.
Yeah, so our website is where I think everything is, www.cak.go.ke. If you go there, everything is there. The portal is there. How you can use the portal. There are manuals on how to use it, how to file complaints. There are frequent asked questions about consumer protection. So everything is there. I won't go to the portal and everything else. www.cak.go.ke.
And also the apps one more time.
Oh, the app, yes, the mobile app on iOS and Android. Just Google or search our name, Competition Authority of Kenya. There's the app that will come there. There's only one. Download that, create a profile, then start complaining.
Awesome. Mugambi Mutegi there for the manager, communication and external relations at the Competition Authority of Kenya. Thank you so much for spending time with us this Tuesday morning. It's Monday in my mind because it's a new week.
Don't take our days. We will take you back to Competition Authority
for stealing days.
Yes, stealing days, bana.
Pearl Radio, the home of fresh and classic hits.